Chosen one, if you found this message right now, it is not an accident. Something powerful is already unfolding in your life, even if it doesn't look that way yet. Right now, you may feel confused, disconnected, or even frustrated with how things are going. You might be asking yourself why people are slowly disappearing from your life, why doors you once wanted are closing, or why your energy feels different this new year. But listen carefully, this moment is not punishment, it is preparation. Most people think blessings arrive loudly, with celebration and applause. But for chosen ones, transformation always begins in silence. God works quietly before he works publicly. And the reason this new year feels heavy is because something old is being removed to make space for something far greater. You are not losing people, you are being released from what no longer matches where you're going. Think about it for a moment. The people who walked away, the connections that suddenly went cold, the plans that didn't work out, none of that happened randomly. Those relationships, habits, and environments were only meant to carry you so far. If they stayed, they would have limited you. That's why God is removing everyone and everything that can't go where he's taking you next. Here's what most people don't understand. When God wants to elevate you, he isolates you first. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. Distractions have to be removed before clarity can arrive. Noise must disappear before direction becomes clear. That's why this new year feels different. You're not entering it with excitement like others. You're entering it with awareness. You may notice that your tolerance for fake energy is gone. Conversations that once entertained you now drain you. Places you used to enjoy feel empty. This is not you becoming cold, it's you becoming aligned. Growth always comes with separation, and the more chosen you are, the more selective your path becomes. What's powerful is that most people won't see this change happening in you yet. On the outside, it may look like nothing is happening, but behind the scenes your mindset is shifting, your spirit is sharpening, your intuition is getting stronger, you're starting to see things you ignored before. You're recognizing patterns, red flags, and truth much faster. That's not accidental, that's activation. This new year is not about instant success. It's about alignment. God is positioning you so that when the breakthrough comes, it stays. Temporary blessings don't require preparation, but lasting elevation does. That's why things are being stripped away slowly. If everything left at once, you wouldn't understand why. So God removes things piece by piece, letting you grow stronger with each release. Ask yourself honestly, how many times did you hold on to people who didn't respect you? How often did you stay in situations that drained your soul just because you were afraid of being alone? This new year, that cycle ends. God is teaching you how to stand on your own before he allows others to stand with you. And yes, loneliness may visit you during this season. But loneliness is not rejection, it's refinement. Solitude is where chosen ones are rebuilt. It's where your faith is tested, your discipline is formed, and your vision becomes clear. People who can't handle silence will never hear God's direction. But you stayed, you endured. And that's why you're being trusted with more. What's coming next in your life requires strength, wisdom, and emotional maturity. The old version of you couldn't handle it. That's why the old life had to go. This new year isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were always meant to be. Pay attention to the signs around you. Repeating numbers, sudden realizations, strong urges to change your routine. A deep feeling that something big is coming, even without proof. These are not coincidences, these are confirmations. God speaks quietly to those who are listening. And here's the part that will shock you. Some people you're losing now will try to come back later, once they see your elevation. But by then, you won't be accessible to what once drained you. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're healed. Growth changes access. This new year is the turning point, not the loud kind, not the instant kind, but the irreversible kind. What God is building in you now will not be easily shaken. The delays were necessary. The endings were intentional. The isolation was strategic. So if you're watching this and thinking, why does this feel like the hardest new year of my life? Remember this, the hardest seasons always come right before the biggest shifts. Stay present, stay disciplined, stay faithful, because what's being prepared for you next will make everything you lost make sense. And this is only the beginning, chosen one, now that the separation has begun. This is where many people misunderstand what's happening to them. They think the emptiness they feel means something is wrong, but in reality, it means something is finally right. When God removes people and patterns from your life, He doesn't immediately replace them. There is always a gap, and that gap is intentional. It is the space where your strength is rebuilt and your identity is clarified. Right now, you may feel like you're standing between two versions of yourself. The old one is gone, but the new one hasn't fully arrived yet. This in-between phase is uncomfortable because you no longer fit where you came from, but you're not yet established where you're going. That's why this new year feels strange. You're not excited like others, but you're not hopeless either. You're aware, and awareness always comes before transformation. This is the season where God rewires your thinking. You start questioning things you once accepted. You begin to see how much you were giving and how little you were receiving. You recognize how often you minimized yourself just to keep peace. None of this awareness is meant to fill you with regret. It's meant to free you. You can't change what you don't first acknowledge. One of the hardest lessons in this phase is learning that not everyone who walked with you was meant to walk into your future. Some people were only assigned to teach you endurance. Others were meant to expose wounds you didn't know you had, and some were there simply to show you what you no longer need. Letting go doesn't mean they were evil. It means their role is complete. You may notice that your patience is being tested more than ever. Delays feel heavier. Silence feels louder. Prayers feel unanswered. But this is not because God isn't listening. It's because He's training you to trust without constant reassurance. Faith that depends on visible proof is fragile, but faith built in silence becomes unshakable. During this new year, your discipline matters more than your motivation. Motivation fades, but discipline carries you forward even when you don't feel inspired. This is why routines, boundaries, and consistency are being emphasized in your life right now. God is teaching you how to protect your energy, your time, and your focus. What's coming next will demand it. You might also feel misunderstood during this phase. People may say you've changed. They may not recognize your silence, your distance, or your seriousness. But transformation always looks strange to those who are still comfortable where they are. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be aligned with your purpose. There will be moments when you're tempted to go back to familiar conversations, back to old habits, back to people who once made you feel seen, even if they drained you. This temptation is part of the test. Growth always challenges attachment. But remember, just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's safe. Comfort is not the same as calling. This season is also sharpening your intuition. You're sensing things before they happen. You're feeling when something is off without needing proof. That inner knowing is becoming louder because you're finally quiet enough to hear it. Guard that. Don't ignore it just to keep others comfortable. God often speaks through intuition before He speaks through circumstances. Another truth many chosen ones struggle with is this: your next level will cost you access to your old life. Not everyone gets to come with you. Not every habit gets to stay. Not every version of you gets to survive the upgrade. And that's okay. Growth is not betrayal. Healing is not abandonment. This new year is teaching you how to stand alone without feeling abandoned. There is a difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness comes from seeking validation externally. Aloneness comes from internal stability. God is moving you from one to the other. Once you no longer need constant reassurance from people, you become unstoppable. Pay attention to how your desires are changing. You may no longer crave attention, drama, or noise. You may want peace more than praise, clarity more than connection, and depth more than popularity. These shifts are signs of maturity. They mean you're no longer easily influenced or emotionally manipulated. What's happening now is not visible success, it's internal alignment. And internal alignment always precedes external breakthrough. You're becoming emotionally strong enough to handle blessings without losing yourself. You're becoming spiritually aware enough to recognize opportunities without forcing them. You're becoming mentally disciplined enough to stay focused when distractions return. This phase may not give you stories to brag about, but it will give you wisdom that changes your life. One day, you'll look back at this new year and realize it was the moment everything quietly turned in your favor. Not because life became easy, but because you became ready. So if you feel like you're waiting, remember this waiting is not wasted time when God is preparing you. Every delay is doing something within you. Every closed door is redirecting you. Every moment of silence is strengthening your faith. Stay steady, stay intentional, stay honest with yourself. Because what's ahead is not just a breakthrough, it's a transformation. And when it arrives, you'll understand why this season had to be this way. Chosen one, as this season continues to unfold, something deeper is happening within you that many people will never notice until it shows in your results. What you are experiencing now is the final internal shift before external movement begins. This is the stage where your confidence is no longer based on validation, your faith is no longer based on signs, and your peace is no longer dependent on circumstances. You are becoming rooted. There is a reason God allowed you to walk through confusion, silence, and emotional distance before your breakthrough. If everything had come easily, you would have trusted the blessing more than the source. Now, after everything you've endured, you know where your strength truly comes from. That awareness is what qualifies you for what's next. Soon, you will notice a subtle but powerful change in how you respond to life. Things that once triggered you won't have the same effect. Words that once hurt will lose their power. Situations that once drained you will no longer get access to your energy. This emotional stability is not accidental. It's the result of refinement. God is teaching you how to remain calm while everything around you shifts. What's coming will require discernment. New people will enter your life, but not everyone who appears is meant to stay. This time, you won't rush, you won't over-explain, you won't ignore red flags just to feel connected. You've learned the cost of that. You now understand that alignment matters more than attachment. You may also experience moments where you feel ahead of others, not superior, but aware. You'll see patterns repeating in people's lives that you already outgrew. This can feel isolating, but it's also a sign of elevation. Growth creates distance, not because you want separation, but because your perspective has expanded. And expanded vision always changes relationships. As this new year progresses, opportunities will begin to surface in unexpected ways. Not forced, not rushed, not chaotic, but natural. Doors will open through conversations, ideas, and moments that feel strangely aligned. When this happens, trust your intuition. If it brings peace instead of pressure, it's likely meant for you. God's opportunities don't demand desperation, they confirm direction. You'll also notice that your patience has deepened. You're no longer rushing outcomes or chasing timelines. You understand that what's meant for you cannot miss you. This mindset alone will save you from countless mistakes. When you stop forcing, you start flowing. And flow is where favor lives. One of the most powerful signs that you've entered this phase is gratitude. Even without everything you desire, you feel thankful. Not because life is perfect, but because you are grounded. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's working, and what you appreciate begins to multiply. People from your past may resurface, curious about your energy, your silence, your distance. Some will sense that something has changed, even if they can't explain it. This is where boundaries matter. You don't owe anyone access to the version of you that fought so hard to heal. Not everyone deserves to know your next chapter. This season is also about embodiment. You are no longer just learning lessons, you are living them. Integrity is becoming natural. Discipline is becoming consistent. Faith is becoming steady. These qualities will speak louder than any announcement you could ever make. There may still be moments of doubt, but they won't control you. Doubt will knock, but it won't move in. You've learned how to sit with uncertainty without collapsing. That strength will serve you well when bigger responsibilities arrive. What you're stepping into now is not a moment, it's a new standard. A standard for how you treat yourself. A standard for what you allow. A standard for how you move through life. Once this standard is set, you won't be able to go back, even if you tried. And here's the truth many people never hear. Your breakthrough won't come to announce itself. It will quietly integrate into your life until one day you realize you're living the life you once prayed for. Stability, purpose, peace, these are the real rewards, so continue forward with humility and confidence. Stay consistent even when no one is watching. Trust what you've been guided to release. Protect what you've been taught to build. This new year is not just changing your circumstances, it's completing your transformation. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not late, you are aligned, and alignment always leads to fulfillment.